Okay, everybody. Today I have my workhorse Micca OoOs here. These are the primary speaker I've been using for the past 9 months or so. So this is definitely a very long-term review of these. And I also have here Micca RB42-C, which is the center channel version of the very much talked about and hyped RB42s. And I bought this as a center channel, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But the primary focus today is going to be on the Micca OoO. So this Micca is a fantastic speaker. At $100 a pair, I don't think you can do better. And to be honest, it's so good that I haven't really felt the need to upgrade much. It just sounds spectacular. There's a lot of bass there for if you don't have a subwoofer, but if you do have a subwoofer like I do, it integrates very nicely with it. It's very versatile on a desk. But you can also use it in a home theater. The one thing you have to be careful of if you're using it in a home theater is that you give it enough power, because Micca speakers, especially the OoOs and the RB42s, are notoriously inefficient. This is 83 dB efficiency. The RB42C here is 87 dB efficient, allegedly, but we'll get to that. So what you have with the speakers is these two 3-inch Kevlar drivers and Micca's tweeter. Now, there's a lot of rumors that Micca uses the same tweeter for all their speakers. I don't know. They do all look very similar and are the same size, and it would make sense for them to be the same tweeter, but all I know is that it sounds great in any place that I try it, in any living situation. And this will fit in a spot where most speakers won't fit nicely. And for my stupid little TV credenza, that's great. These will fit just fine. What doesn't fit as fine is this guy, the big RB42C we have right here. I bought it to use as a center channel with the Micca OoOs, and it's big. And what I realized is that it didn't work well with the room as a center channel, because I had to have it a little bit more forward from the TV while these were more flush with the TV, so it just sounded disjointed. I don't blame that on the speaker, I blame it on my living situation, and that is something that I should have taken more seriously before I bought this in the first place. But I did have a chance to compare these mano y mano, as in literally mono. And I gotta say, at least playing in mono, it was very difficult to tell the difference between these two speakers. If you blindfolded me, it would be very difficult. You'd think that this would have a lot more bass than this, but that's not really the case. And the reason is that Micca spent the extra size, on efficiency rather than on bass extension. Which I think is good, given that they're the RB42s that they're designed to match with are legendarily inefficient. Give the amplifier kind of a break by having this be more of an efficient speaker. And it makes sense if you view this through the lens as a matching speaker to the RB. Actually, here, I just noticed that this chair might be blocking. Where was I? But what I found is that it didn't seem that much more efficient to my ears when I compared these. Um, and I compared these in mono because I had, only one of this and one of this. So in a mono mono situation, which is literal in this case, they did sound very similar, and it was difficult to notice an efficiency difference. Now, my receiver put the efficiency difference at 2.5 dB, but again, that was difficult to tell, and that was when this was as a center and slightly closer to my living room position than this. Now, what I found interesting is I did do a mad science experiment where I put this one as one of my speakers and I put the Micca OoO as the other. And surprisingly, it didn't sound that off or anything. You could tell that one speaker is slightly taller than the other, but they sound very similar. And I think that goes to show just how similar these sound. So then what are you getting for the extra $100 with these? Well, you're getting a little more efficiency. You're getting, a much beefier looking build quality with these magnetic grills. But at least comparing them mono, not in a stereo set, but just together as mono speakers, I don't know. I did not find it a compelling upgrade over the Micca OoOs. And there are advantages to small speakers, both in terms of placement and also in terms of dispersion. The smaller speaker is, the wider the dispersion it is, paradoxically. Also, you'll notice that because this is a smaller speaker, the woofer and the tweeters are closer than they can be on this speaker, which allows, I think, for better time coherency. But it would be nice to compare them back to back as a stereo pair. So sort of a caveat emptor here that I didn't compare them in stereo, but I feel bad getting another one from Amazon and then returning both of them when I'm probably going to return both of them. I don't want to upset the Amazon gods too much. So I'll be returning the RB42-C. If I had not heard the OoO or didn't have it on hand, I'd still think that this was a fantastic speaker at $200 a pair. If you have a pair of these, don't worry about it. Don't fret about it. It's still a great speaker. And I would use this as my center channel if you do use the RB42Cs. I think it works fantastic for its original use case as a center channel. Unfortunately, my room just doesn't work well with a center channel, but I don't blame that at all on the speaker. Dialogue and everything was very clear. So, but yeah, for most people, I think you'll be just fine with the Micca OoOs, which are much smaller, and you can do this cool parlor trick where if you have these hooked up to they sound much bigger than they are, so it's kind of cool to play them in, and people are kind of amazed that such small speakers can play such big sound. And it's especially cool when I hook these up to the SVS 3000 micro. You get this very small setup with this huge sound. So that works really great. But even without a sub, you'd be amazed how much bass these make. So on a desk or something, I'd save the money and not get a sub. Now, for a home theater situation, you're going to want, as I said, a lot of power with these. So what I would do, and what I did, is go onto Craigslist or OfferUp and get a surround receiver. For $100 or something. I paid $120 for my surround receiver, and then just set it up in 2.1 if you want. And that way you get all the power into these two speakers. I did try this with an SMSL. Oh, what's the model number? Well, I'll put it on the screen here what the model number was. But that actually broke after a couple of months. And I think the reason it broke is I was running it at 70% power in the living room with these for a long time. So I don't really blame the amp as much. I think I was just using it in a situation with inefficient speakers in a larger room that it wasn't meant for. I think that amp would be just fine with these speakers in a smaller, on a desk where it's more intended. But yeah, these sound great with everything. And again, the RB42Cs, if you are looking for something that looks heftier, and especially that matches your RB42s, you can't go wrong with this either. If I had a room with a better center channel situation, I probably would have kept this as a center channel instead of getting one of these as a matching center, especially since they sound so similar. You get a little bit of efficiency advantage here, and compared to the cost of one of these is 60 if you buy just the one, and if you buy just the one of these it's 100, so $40 difference. So yeah, for a center I'd probably still go with the RB42Cs. But all right, so sorry if I'm rambling here. Yeah, I just really like these speakers, and people have been like, oh, why are you comparing these expensive subwoofers to, with such a cheap speaker as this? And the reason is I really don't feel much of a need to upgrade because they sound so good, and there aren't that many speakers of this size that can fit my living situation. And the room, makes up a huge a part of the sound acoustics. It's very important, and these work well in my room even though it's a larger room because I'm giving them enough power, but they fit in the TV credenza where I need them to fit, and they just work really well. Integrating especially with the subwoofer. But even before I had the subwoofer, for the first 5 months or so, I used these in my living room without a subwoofer, and I was perfectly content with it. And then of course when I added the subwoofer, I was like, whoa, now things are really awesome. But if you can't afford a subwoofer at first, don't be afraid to just start with these and then add a sub later. And again, on a desk, I don't think I would even bother with a sub unless you really have some extra money and really want the best space around. Okay, all right, I hope this was helpful. Please like or subscribe, and if you have any video ideas, let me know. And just to sort of be fair with the comparison, this is what they both, when they're both at the same level here, you can see this one juts out quite a bit more. It's quite a bit taller and wider. It's actually a bit surprising just how much bigger this one is than the OoO. So just keep that in mind. But all right, thanks for watching.